Okay, a little bit of a different kind of video today, because I recently contacted the support for WOT Tanks on an issue, and this issue that I am going to be showing in the video, and I'll hopefully be documenting it as well as I possibly can, because this has thoroughly annoyed me. Not just the issue in general, but also the support, which, I'm not going to lie, usually the WOT Tank support and Wargaming support is actually pretty decent. But in this case, they have not been of any help whatsoever. I've been through a full ticket thread with Wargaming over this issue, and I have changed every single setting that they asked me to change. I've tried everything. I've even reinstalled Windows to try and fix this issue. Well, it wasn't just to fix this issue. It was other things that were completely separate from the game, but it still didn't help this issue. So this is very much a client and game issue, as I am going to prove as well in this video. And I even got other people to test this and have confirmed that this is an issue in the game and not just my PC. This is people that have completely different hardware to me, and all of them have had the issue once I have showed them what setting to change. And the main reason why I'm making this video is because Wargaming have gone and told me that's just how it works in this game, when clearly it isn't. And then went and tried to say, after I said, well, it isn't how the game works because I can prove it on different resolutions, it works completely differently and actually fixes it on different resolutions. They then went and said, well, we couldn't find any issues when we tested. That, I want to firmly say, is bullshit. Because I have had people test it on the exact thing that I sent to Wargaming, with the exact settings, and every single person has had that issue. Now, there is one thing that I have not had the chance to test, and that could be that this is an Nvidia-only GPU issue. If that is the case, and you have an AMD GPU, then please test this out. Tell me if you have the same issue, because in that case, it is 100% the game client issue. And as much as Wargaming may say that's how it works, it clearly doesn't, if that's the case. So I'm now going to go through what exactly the issue is, go through the settings that you need to change and how they will affect it. And I'm going to show you some video, just plain, unedited video of me driving through. I'll then maybe like pinch in and zoom in to show you exactly where the issues are. And then we'll come back and talk about it. So the two settings that are the issue is nothing on this page. But if you go into details, the Antialiasing and Object LOD are the two things that are the problem in this game. Everything else doesn't matter. I've turned all the effects off and everything like that. But you'll see in the videos that I'm going to be showing you, every single graphics setting is exactly the same. The only thing that is a slight difference is the refresh rate between the three resolutions, which is going to be, well, it's technically 4 resolutions, because there'll be 1080p in the video, there'll be 1440p, 4K, and then 1440p stretched to 16:10. Because for some reason, that fixes the issue, which makes no sense whatsoever. So the two problems are the Object LOD. Let me just show you what exactly happens when you get close. You may have seen it there. You will see objects randomly fade into different textures. But this is... Look at the tram, for example, when I get close. But it doesn't seem to be changing. And then these rubble piles here, as I get close, it's around about 25 meters. But this shouldn't be happening. This entire house moves as I get close, which I don't know why. How is that how the game works? Now, the way that you fix this is by either turning the LOD down to high, because if you change it just one down to maximum, for example, you will still get the exact same issue. As we move away, you'll be able to see stuff changing. Like this, for example, will change as well. So the exact same thing occurs. Everything is still changing. The tram will change. There you go. Yeah. So everything still changes. But if you change this down to high, there's no fading effect. It still changes, but there's no fading effect. And bearing in mind, This is on the HD client at ultra settings. Why does the game look worse on the higher settings than it does on the lower settings? If you are running the game at ultra settings, you should have a computer that can run it at those settings. You shouldn't be limited by how far away a texture is and why is it changing. 25 meters for an LOD is way too close. And as we get closer to this, you'll see the house change as well. But it doesn't fade. However, it changes the texture dramatically. If you look at the house, you'll see that the windows then go and then they come and appear. But also, especially when you see the video in a second on the different, how the LOD stuff changes, when we go down this road, this train station will change massively. So we get closer, we keep getting closer. Also, the train tracks will just slowly come into view. There has to be a better way of doing this. And this train station still hasn't fully come in yet. Now it's come in. Look how much of a difference that is. So that's not really a fix either. Because it could still be just as jarring as that kind of fading effect. Because that's a big change. But that isn't something that is just kind of easily the corner of your eye, you might not see it. If that happened in the corner of my eye, I would be drawn to it. And this building, as we go towards it, will change massively in texture. As you see, it's very, very low res right now. And as we get closer, it will then come into texture. It just... that isn't really a fix to put that down to high. The other fix, because as you'll see, if we just go back, you'll see that it's still all fading into view, as you saw here in front of me and whatnot. All these rocks are still fading. The other fix is turn your anti-aliasing down to high. But then that just makes the game look really, really nasty at kind of further resolution, further distances. So that's not really a fix either. And still, the LOD is changing when it shouldn't be changing at this kind of distance. So there isn't really a fix in the game currently. Well, there sort of is. Because at 1080p, it doesn't do this. At 4K, it does it, but very, very minimal. But at stretched, it barely does it at all. So this is 2304 by 1440 at 1610 resolution. If we do this, you'll see that stuff still fades in, and we're on completely the top settings. As you see here, top settings, apart from the effects and whatnot. But there's none of this fading in. Yes, the LOD is still an issue. It's still way too close for what it should be. Remember, this is ultra settings. Like, the LOD should not really be changing at this kind of close distance. But you see how it kind of just fades a little bit? But not really that much. So I'm now going to show you all the different resolutions and all the different settings in a replay which demonstrates it fine, and then you can tell me at the end if you also have these issues. The next thing that I want to bring up is when you are in game and you have tessellation on, both terrain tessellation just normally and in the sniper mode, it doesn't matter which one you choose. Obviously, if it's not in the sniper mode, you won't get it in the sniper mode. But what I want to show is how this is almost like, it's like a wave of just the textures changing. Now to show you what I mean, this is with it obviously on, and it's on in the sniper mode because that will give you the best explanation. Now we're going to look down at the floor here, and as we go forwards, you will see at the top of the screen, at the top half, you will see like it's almost like a wave of like a water effect that's going through the textures. And it doesn't matter like how much I zoom in. It doesn't change how far away it changes. I mean, obviously you can see it having the change. If we also look closely at the floor here, if we zoom all the way in without going to sniper mode, you'll also see the ripple effect is almost like, it's not in a straight line, it's almost like in a sphere around you as it's changing. You can see it, I'll zoom in the video, but it's not like a straight line. But some textures don't even have it. Like, this group of rock piles here doesn't have it. But if I go back here, it then has it. So, I don't understand. It makes, like, no sense to me. But if we turn this off now, there's no issues with the tessellation. This is all just coming back to now LOD issues. So I would advise anybody to turn tessellation off because it is absolutely horrible in game. And just to show you as well, if we go forwards, there is no like water effect or water ripple effect. And if we turn it back on, yeah, what a horrible setting, man. Who knew going higher settings makes the game look worse? So now that you've seen all of this, and clearly I have stated that there is an issue in this game with this at 1440p, and even 4K to a certain extent, but it's nowhere near as much. What can we do about this? If you have this issue, send in a ticket, because apparently nobody else has this issue and they never receive complaints from other players. So if you have this issue, send a ticket in and show them a replay, and if you can, record on your end what the issue is and send that to them. You can upload it to YouTube and then unlist the video and then link them that clip and just go and do it that way. Because that would be the best way of bringing this to their attention. Because this is an issue. However, if you're on AMD and don't have this issue, then maybe this is just an Nvidia thing. And it needs to be looked at from the point of both what's happening with the interaction with Nvidia cards and this game. Either way, this is clearly an issue in the game and definitely should not just be swept under the rug because hardly anyone's having this issue, Max. And it is especially bullshit that they said they couldn't reproduce it on their PC.